Welcome to the Legacy of Luxury. Nick Constantino here, and we have a special show for you. So we have our go-to guy in the jewelry industry, Mr. Jaron Solomon. Jaron, how you doing, buddy?
There he is, Nick. I'm doing good.
Good to have you. And then we have a special guest with us, Mr. Paul Tacorian of Tacori. Paul, how you doing, bud?
Good, baby. I thought I was the go-to guy, but I guess it's you.
He's the go-to guy on the jewelry. You're the go-to guy that gets the jewelry to the go-to guy. So I do like the choice of shirt. You pop wonderfully on the white background. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to Jaron. You don't need me for this one. This guy's got too little jewelry experience to have this. So Jaron, I'm going to let you take it, bud, and we'll catch back up at the end.
Love it. Yeah. Welcome to the Legacy of Luxury, Paul. Great to have you in Atlanta, Georgia, here in the Solomon Brothers studio. And, here, kind of want you to talk a little bit about your journey into the jewelry business. We're both second generation guys in the business. So maybe you can talk a little bit about your family story first, give the listeners, who is Tacori, what is Tacori, and we'll go from there.
Jaron, when I was walking up here today, I was talking to my colleague about how I've been coming here for 25 years and used to work with your father back in the day.
That's right.
And your uncle. So it's good to be back here. Tacori is a family business that's got over 50 years of history. We call my father the founder, and we call him the founder because my mother's father was a jeweler. And when my father moved to America and met my mom, he found her and got into the jewelry business. And that's how he got into it. So they are both the founders of Tacori. We've been doing this for over 50 years. And we've been handcrafting our jewelry at our design studios in California since then. So it's an amazing legacy that we have. So it's really cool.
Made in America, everybody.
God bless America. I love this place.
So what makes Tacori unique? What's the differentiators? Give us kind of the story there, and we'll talk marketing in a second, but just the physical jewelry.
Physical jewelry, there's something called the iconic crescent. So back in August of 1998, my father and our head of design at the time, Garo, were working together to mill out heart-shaped. This is before technology. They were milling out heart-shaped designs on the interface of the ring, on the foundation of the ring. And they cut the hearts out, and my dad looked at it and said, I don't like the way it looks. It kind of looks a little bit cheesy. So he said, let's take the top of the hearts, the two parts of the heart on the top, cut it in half and flip it upside down. And then they created Tacori Crescent, something that's never been done in jewelry, and it's magnificent and beautiful. And ever since then, we've been making every single one of our pieces with a piece of the Tacori Crescent in the design. So it's an iconic design, can only be found in Tacori, can only be found at Solomon Brothers. And it's something we've been doing. So that's part of it. The other part is, again, it's an iconic family that's been doing making jewelry for over 50 years. So we're really proud to be having that part of it. Yeah. And one thing that's really special to my heart is the fact that we handcraft everything in our design studios in California. As immigrants, as proud Americans, we love to keep our product, everything we do, first of all, oversight, but supporting the 150 people that work at our design studios to craft every one of our pieces. So
talk a little bit about that quality control real quick, because I think it's something that Nick and I have talked about on the podcast before, just kind of, how awesome is it to be in charge of the manufacturing process, to see it take place? And, why is that a critical advantage in the industry?
First of all, it's oversight. So if you call me today and say, where is Johnny's ring? Yeah. I can go find that ring in my design studio and know exactly where it is. But I always tell people, and I think you and I had this conversation once, you told me, anybody can make a ring at the same quality of Tacori. And that's true. You can, but can they make 10,000 of them over and over again, every single year, every single month throughout a year? And the other part is that I always say we have the best craftsmen on earth. There are other best craftsmen, but these are the best craftsmen on earth. So we take really great pride in every piece that we make. It doesn't fall apart. If you run over it with a car, that's a different story. But the quality and the workmanship of what we do stands true to above and beyond what everyone else does.
Yeah, I love that. And, it's why I think we've meshed so well together throughout all these years. My dad came from the idea of having the best diamond and the best cut diamond, right? The crown angle and the pavilion angle, and everything needs to be perfect. And it was his idea of a Tiffany quality diamond at a Solomon Brothers price. And Tacori is essentially doing that exact same idea for jewelry. It cannot be done any better. You might be able to do it the same, but you know what? For the quality, it's just truly unbelievable. It's been an incredible partnership. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about luxury. Nick is going to get us some questions from the audience, which will be great. So you are listening to the Legacy of Luxury. We will return in just one moment.
Welcome back to the Legacy of Luxury. We are talking with Paul Tacorian of Tacori. We got Jaron here firing on all cylinders. So we got some questions for the audience, and these are specifically sourced, okay, from customers, from non-customers. So we're going to start with the first one. What do you believe is the most important shift happening in the jewelry business today? And I will ask, how are the brands positioned to adapt to it? Jaron, why don't you take this one first, bud?
Yeah. So, Tacori works with mainly independent jewelers across the country. We obviously are an independent jeweler, and I think the independent jewelry space is shifting tremendously on our end as far as customization goes and the customer experience with that customization. Everyone wants something unique to them. It's one of the cool things about carrying Tacori is that it's not really carried at many other places here in the state of Georgia. So it's nice having something that you're not going to see on someone's ring when you go to the country club and you go to the pool and you go to the park and you're going places, you're getting to see something unique. So that's what I love about Tacori. And Paul, I'll let you talk a little bit about, what you guys are doing and what your abilities are, at the shop there.
That's exactly right. Customization is so critical to our business. We have a design that we think is beautiful, but the person that's buying that design might not necessarily want exactly that.
Right.
So what we specialize in is customizing it so that you have one unique piece of jewelry that's your own piece of jewelry, your ring that you're going to be wearing that is not like everyone else. As you can see from my style, I don't like to look like everyone else, and I want our customers to feel like they have a one-of-a-kind piece of jewelry.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that is where the industry is going, right? I mean, it's, kind of being able to go 3/4 of the way around, halfway around, or none of the way around. Maybe I just want it as a solitaire, but I love, the head of this ring. And, so I think that's pretty cool that you guys can do all of that. And where do you see the trend going in fashion jewelry? I think just to touch on that topic real quick.
Gosh, look. Gold is at an all-time high right now. And so yellow gold is what's desired. But I think with the price of where gold is today, I think we're going to see a lot more silver jewelry come out that is beautiful design jewelry. And I think they'll be using alternative metals and mixing, I hope not too much lab grown, but they'll be making more jewelry with lab grown because you can create bigger pieces for a great value. With lab-grown diamonds.
Yeah. And I don't mean to put you on the spot here, but I think the listeners would enjoy this part of it. Sorry, Nick. I know we have more to get to. But talk about silver as a metal. Is it a good metal? Is it a bad metal? From a jewelry perspective.
I think silver is a great metal for a jewelry perspective. You're able to create bigger pieces. You're able to create more unique designs that would be cost prohibitive with gold or platinum. And I think it's, I don't want to say it's an everyday, but it's more affordable, and there's more designs that you can create with silver jewelry that would be, again, cost prohibitive with gold.
Cool. Love that.
Look, another trend coming, which I'm very proud of, is Made in America. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely.
Are we happy about that? I told you this before. I'm a proud American, and I think I love the fact that we're producing our product here in America and providing jobs for people. And I think people are going to try and do more of that, but it's not easy to start producing here if you've been making it overseas for so many years.
Yeah. Yeah. And listen, not to get into a whole tariff conversation, obviously, but, as far as pricing goes, this is, being made in America. If you're already set up and ready to go, there's a huge value proposition there. So
we've always been made in America, my friend.
Lucky you right now.
Yes. So I got a little question here. So based on what I've seen of the industry, it is a slow moving industry comparative to some of these newer fields. So how do you balance the discipline required with the consumer demands moving so quickly? It seems like in an ADD generation, people want something before you can get the trend ramped up, it's already over. So how hard is it to balance what you're trying to keep up with consumer demand with the need to be disciplined because of some of these business principles of cost and everything? I can't imagine it's easy.
No, it's not easy, but it's more about trying to set the trends versus following the trend, and being nimble and quick. The fact that we have everything here to design studios in California, we're able to make moves really quickly because it's in our control. So the consumer taste changes quickly and their expectations change quickly, but we're able to keep up with that. We're able to deliver our product in 2 weeks as well instead of 4 to 6, which most other manufacturers are doing. Yeah.
Huge. No, listen, and I would say to that question, lucky to be the retailer on this side of things because Paul has to come up with everything and I just get to buy it and sell it and move on. So, we don't have to be, too innovative, but I will speak from the independent jeweler side. It's very nice that, we can kind of follow trends, and Paul and his team over at Tacori does a great job of trend setting. So, I think it's a good question.
Another interesting point is, as the world is changing with technology and moving as quickly as it is, one thing that still stands true is to find your ring that you're going to be spending a significant amount of money on and to have the right experience that consumers today, the best place to go do that is at an independent jewelry store. Yeah. You've been in this business for how long?
13 years.
And your family?
43.
43. You're not going anywhere. And the experience of what, but it's true.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going anywhere. You're not going anywhere. I have an 8-year-old who told me the other day that he can't wait to start working at Tacori. So I'm here for a while.
Yeah.
But the experience that one gets at an independent jewelry store is far superior to what you're going to get anywhere else. And that's just because your family name is on here, and the experience that they're going to get and the service they're going to get is bar none.
100%.
Well, Paul, either you're a mind reader or we're on the same page, because my next question is directly related to that. So, legacy is a word often used in both family and business. How do you each define it, and how does it shape the decisions that you make? And Paul, let's start with you, bud.
I mean, look, I'm the third generation with a fourth one coming eventually into our business. So the legacy of what our family stands for is very important to us. I feel sorry for I'll change this topic. My father has an insatiable appetite for perfection, and he always strove to have everything be exactly how he wanted and he envisioned it. I feel sorry for his wife and kids, but that is something that we take every day at Tacori is continuing the legacy of not just making something to sell, but making something that we think is perfect. And we have very high standards. We don't celebrate very long because we always look at a great success and say, how could we have done better?
Yeah.
And, keeps us up at night, but it's very important to us and our family.
Yeah, for sure. I would echo a lot of that. And, legacy is, right, passing from one generation to another. That's how I would define it. And, luxury, to me, is offering a product. And Nick and I talk about this all the time on the podcast, but, offering something that people strive for. It can be, we talk about it all the time, $300, $400.
Yep.
That is luxury. And so, my goal at Solomon Brothers is not just to pass down from generation to generation, but to pass down luxury and providing an actual product that people can walk in and say, wow, I made it.
Yes.
For everyone out there, yes, that means $300-$400. It does not have to be $30,000 to see luxury.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think that's the evolution of luxury, right? As you see kind of the wealthy hyper separate themselves from everybody else, that ultra luxury is a different category. But if you can afford to buy a $500 piece and you're not worried where that money's coming from, you understand luxury.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of this, right? The evolution of luxury. It used to be, now there's quiet luxury where people don't necessarily want the gaudy logos everywhere. They want subtlety. So talk a little bit about that luxury to what it means to you guys, how it's evolving, and how you ensure your customers feel that luxury when they purchase from you.
I'd love to. Look, I think the world has come to a place where we're buying a lot of things that don't mean very much to us. I personally like to buy less things that are more meaningful to me. And I think that's where luxury comes. Again, the price point isn't what it is. It's more of the piece that you're spending the effort on and what it means to you. So that's what we create. We have varying price points with Tacori and the product that we make. But again, it's that I earned this, I deserve this, and it's a piece that it's an heirloom piece. So when you buy a piece of Tacori jewelry or an engagement ring, it's something that's going to stay with you and your family for generations, right?
Yeah, for sure. You want to make product that, for us is going to stand the test of time. So I think when I think of jewelry, and I do it here all the time, I do estate buys and I do appraisals all the time. And, seeing stuff that is, 50 years old, 100 years old, 150 years old. I mean, that is such cool stuff. So making jewelry, selling jewelry that will stand the test of time, that legacy of that piece is one of the cooler parts for us and what we do.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so before we get to a little bit more about the industry, one of the things Jaron and I talk about a lot is that people think that France, that Paris and Milan and New York are the center hubs of the industries, fashion and everything. So Paul, LA, So let's talk a bit about LA, because if anyone knows the movie industry, a lot of the LA people moved to Atlanta. It has become this little version of Hollywood, and a lot of the things that you talk about in LA are moving its way over here. So talk a little bit about LA's status in the jewelry industry, and then Jaron, we've covered this before, but why don't you talk a little bit about what an up-and-comer Atlanta is? Because I think that geography is important, right? Luxury is everybody everywhere. You can get it anywhere. It's not just Milan anymore to get that stuff.
No, I think, look, we've been designing jewelry in Los Angeles for almost 50 years now. So we're an American jewelry designer. So it doesn't have to be an overseas, Paris, Italy, or wherever else you're going from. We can create amazing designs here in craftsmanship from our design studios in LA. So, LA, New York, US is an amazing place. And I'm just a lover of American product, man. I got to be honest.
Do you feel that the culture of LA seeps into the product, or are you making for the masses? Do you feel like, because LA is such a unique place, it's always perceived with sunshine and good vibes. Does that make its way into the design, or are you like, look, we don't only serve LA, so I have to make for everybody?
Look, we make for I don't want to say everybody, because everybody's not a Tacori customer. We make for the person that has an eye for intricate design, beauty from every angle. So every piece of Tacori, you're not going to look at it from the top, from an aerial perspective. You're going to notice the beauty from every angle when you turn a piece of Tacori jewelry. And that's where the iconic crescent design comes in. It's about the details. It's about driving and seeing that ring while you're holding your steering wheel and seeing the designs on the interface. So we are focused on design and creating the trends for what's next, with influential people, not influencers, but influential people that want to wear Tacori because of our craftsmanship and what we do.
Yeah. And couldn't be a better question, Nick, because our boy Paul here is actually shooting at Trilith Park tomorrow.
Nice.
A commercial for Tacori specifically.
Nice. We did a charity fundraiser there. It is awesome. You're right down by Sharpsburg store, man. You're going to see how much that area is booming.
Yeah, no, that's why we put a store on the south side. That's why we went down there, and Fayetteville, Sharpsburg, Peachtree City, Noonan. Shout out to my south side. Is really cool. So
you should have come in 2 years when Lamborghini's built. They're going to have a test track, Lamborghini test show, right next to Trilith. They're building their corporate American headquarters there with a racetrack built into it.
It's going to be
down south, right by Trilith.
George's.
U.S. soccer.
U.S. soccer's coming
already. So
we'll see. It depends how much we embarrass ourselves during the World Cup. If we embarrass ourselves enough, we're just going to give up, I think.
We're going to be just fine.
No, what about Atlanta? Talk just real quick. Talk about Atlanta as just an emerging space, the wealth here, the tech center, how much demand is rising here.
Yeah, I think that you just mentioned it right there. The tech center is just unbelievable. Between Atlanta Tech Village, literally downstairs from where we're sitting today, or Alpharetta, which has, I think, the most tech jobs other than Silicon Valley per capita in America. So it's really cool. Microsoft is out there, right? And Atlanta is really booming. It's booming in all directions. North, south, east, and west, doesn't matter. Places that people hadn't heard of before, that's where people are going to. And it's really cool to see the population growth. And the city is really, on fire and doing a great job. Yeah,
I love that, because that tech sector is so prominent here that we've actually gone against what most people do. And we're like, you know what? Let's simplify this. This is not about e-commerce. Come into store, man. You can't see a diamond shine on the internet. We're not there yet. I promise you. So come into store. And I think these tech guys appreciate the view, appreciate the bar, appreciate the calmness. Because you know what happens when you buy online? You're forcing to make a decision you don't want to make, and you have buyer's remorse. It's very hard to do that when you have the tangible product, the boxes, everything like that. So I think it's a huge point. And speaking of that, this is a good question. So obviously disruption is in every direction. So let's go a little bit more granular, because everyone's going to say AI or this. So what do you guys believe are the biggest disruptors that you've seen and that you're going to see in the next couple of years? Obviously, lab-grown diamonds are a disruptor. We've covered it to death, but where does it go from here? So talk a little bit about big disruptors you see in the industry. Is it AI? Is it e-commerce? Is it the fact that everything's made in China and cheap? What do you guys think are some of the biggest disruptors that the industry is going to see?
Yeah, so I guess two things for me. One, on the tech side, it's actually going to be a huge disruptor, in my opinion, but for the larger, online presences, right? Because now Solomon Brothers will be able to become an online presence. I mean, Nick, you and I talk a website 6-7 years ago. Paul has been through this many iterations. Actually, he's
Amazing.
going to start crying, actually, maybe of how much he spent on his website. But now a $500,000 website is $20,000 or $30,000, and it's just getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So I think that the disruptors, actually independent jewelers that have a great name in the marketplace, can actually give an online experience that we've never been able to give before, because it costs way too much money to do that. And I think that that will help people, buy online from the independent jeweler. So I think that'll be great, but it will just help them have an even better in-store experience when they come in, having ring builders and different things. And then real quick on lab grown, I do think as the price begins to fall, there will be that shift between natural and lab. And basically, if you can afford a natural diamond, that's incredible. And it's something I think people will strive to do. The lab grown is just falling so quickly that, I've always used the example of flat screen TVs, Paul. It's like, you probably remember, walking into a store and a flat screen TV was $20,000 at the special spot at Best Buy.
That's $200.
And now it's $200, and basically everybody can get it. So, if everyone can get it, then is it rare and is it special? I don't think so. That's no opinion here on the lab grown as far as like, is it a diamond? Is it not a diamond? It is a diamond. But if everybody can obtain it, is it actually rare? And I think that's going to be an interesting shift coming down the path.
You know what I'm seeing? So I'm agnostic. I think there's a place for both. But one of the things that I'm seeing is that customers that want to get a natural diamond are getting one that's a little bit of a deeper shade, not perfectly white. And I'll give you an example. I was at our trade show in Las Vegas, and there's a woman behind me with a large 4-carat emerald cut. And I looked close, and it was a little bit gray. And in my head, I said, oh, that's a natural. And so I've seen some customers getting not necessarily E, F, G, right, but going deeper, like K, L, M. And so that's where you can distinguish, and you'll know that that's a natural diamond. So it's an interesting time in our industry to see where it's going to go. I just sold one the other day, an M color. And they're excited, and it's beautiful. I mean, they're gorgeous diamonds. Yeah. They're all unique. That's the beauty of a diamond that comes from Earth, is that every single one is different, and that's what makes it unique and special.
Yeah, listen, it's fascinating when you think about it. Like, we, the industry, made white the desirable, but it could have just as easily been on the more yellow side. And then when it gets so yellow,
that it becomes
even more desirable.
Right.
So yeah, it's a fascinating thing, and I think what you're hitting on there is so, like, because take price aside, just because a D color costs more doesn't make it more desirable.
Right.
So I think you're right on that. And we're actually seeing some of that here. You're right. JKL, beautiful, bright, fiery stones. And yeah, then people know the difference between the two. It's a good point.
One of the things I think problem with this country right now is everyone's chasing innovation, and we're chasing too hard after innovation, and we're not getting good at business principles and tech. We're just chasing innovation. But that being said, the jewelry industry can use some innovation. So personally, for each of you, what are something that you think you would like to be a part of an innovation over the next year, 2 years, not tomorrow? What kind of innovation would you like to be a part of? And as you lead your brands, how would you like to lead people into some of these new innovations?
Look, I think, the buzzword AI, before it was platforms, right? And now AI, and look, it's here to stay, and it's changing the world, and the world will be different because of it. Yeah. The beauty, in my opinion, I could be wrong, is that AI is not going to take over the craftsman that's making a piece of jewelry. How can we use artificial intelligence to innovate in our business is how we're going to stay and become strong. Would that be with custom designs, whether it be how we're using it to bring our customers exactly what they're looking for. But I think innovation with jewelry down the line is going to be us we're buying the newest laser welding. We got the first one that came from Italy, literally the first one they built, which is like everyone at the shop was lined up to use this. We have the newest 3D prototype printers. But how we take AI and then make handcrafted pieces of jewelry in a world that is becoming so technologically advanced is going to make the value of a piece of jewelry that's been crafted by hand so much more important.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, like I said, kind of in the last question, I think that the ability for the little guys like me, that can't afford Salesforce and, don't have all this kind of stuff. I'm so excited. Nick and I are using, AI and technology here every single day to our advantage. And, for us, it has nothing to do with replacing people, which is really nice. Our employment here at Solomon Brothers is employing people to sell and give a great experience to the clients. So it's not replacing anyone, which is really nice for our industry because it makes me feel good. One of the proudest things is, on payroll, which was yesterday, everyone getting a paycheck. And that's a pretty cool feeling as a business owner. And AI is not taking that from us, but we are going to take advantage of AI as a small player in the tech space. We're going to take full advantage of it. So.
Something we talk about, Tacori is a modern vintage brand. Okay. Our look has this vintage appeal to it.
Yeah.
The craftsmanship, the hand details, hand engraving is coming back too, by the way. And it's interesting. It's tough to find hand engravers. We still have them. We still have one. So that's coming back. But when I talk about modern vintage, I think what people are going to be looking for is technology, and everything that has taken over our lives is how to be more present with the nostalgic things that people used to do back in the day. Not going back to stuff that didn't make our lives better, but being present in social experiences, being present with your life and being present in everything you're doing. And that's where I think coming to a jewelry store to buy a piece of jewelry and that experience of being present with this important purchase is the experience that we're going to be looking for. So
there's no question. Listen, just because there's a company I listened to on a different podcast, but called Cloud Kitchens. And, their whole idea, right, is delivering food, to your door and having all this automation. Well, guess what? Going out to a nice steak dinner on Valentine's Day, on your anniversary, on her birthday, just because that experience is never going to go away, no matter how incredible these drones get and driving get and, all that stuff. But I am pretty pumped about self-driving. So
yeah, these have been great, guys. So the next one's a deep one. So we're going to ask it to you, then we're going to go to break. So you got some time to answer this. So if you could leave one lasting impact on the jewelry world, what would it be? Think about it. We'll be right back. You've been listening to The Legacy of Luxury.
Welcome back to The Legacy of Luxury. I'm Jaron Solomon, sitting here with Paul Tacorian of Tacori. We have covered some great topics today that I think the listeners will really enjoy. But, something that I get asked, and I'll phrase it to you, and then I'll answer. But I'd like to hear your opinion on, we're here on this earth. Let's not get too deep as how long we'll be here and all the philosophical aspects of it. But what's the lasting legacy that you want to leave on Tacori and then broader on the jewelry business itself?
So my mission in life that I was born with is, in my core, is refinement, is making things better. Any situation, good, bad, happy, sad. And so I hope that my lasting legacy when I'm gone is that, and this might sound cheesy, but it's true, is that not only did I provide livelihood for all the people that work in my company at our design studios, but the partnerships and friends that I've made with all of my partners like Solomon Brothers, again, 25 plus years here with you. And then all the people that have purchased and started their lives together with a Tacori engagement ring. Like that is like such an amazing thing where I was on the plane coming here actually, and this woman talking to me said, we were talking, I said, yeah, when my son said he wants to work at Tacori, and she goes, oh my God, my sister-in-law has a Tacori, right? In Atlanta. She's an Atlanta resident. Yeah. So that to me is like Tacori being part of so many people's lives is just such an awesome feeling, and knowing that we were part of that. Like, so that's my legacy.
That's so cool. And obviously I'd probably echo a lot of that, right? Of, people starting their journey here and starting their lives here. And, in an interview, a lot of people do ask me like, what's my favorite part about working here? And it's always the same answer. It's, selling an engagement ring, not anything else. Everything else is fun and it's great. I love selling, but selling an engagement ring in a wedding band, starting that journey with the client, it's like I have this privilege to leave a legacy, whether I even want to or not. It's like they're going to remember where they bought their ring, and I do want to, and I think it's important. But for me, losing my dad at a young age, really, my whole mission, I'm still kind of working through it and figuring it out. But I always tell people like my dad built such an incredible brand. I'm so blessed and so lucky to be here. doing what I do, and I'm really just trying not to screw it up. And so the legacy the legacy that I'd like to, leave on Solomon Brothers is making sure that people still have the exact same experience here that they have had for the past 40 years, which is coming to a trustworthy place. We haven't really talked about that word much, because I think both of our brands, it's assumed that people can trust us, and they can. And we've got so many years, of it. But I want to make sure that, we're still as trustworthy as we were 40 years ago, and that the quality is still there. And broader speaking on the industry, I mean, I would love to be somebody that kind of shows the independent jewelers, how to navigate the waters of this new generation coming up, this new tech platform. I have to give a nod to Nick, not only the greatest moderator out there, but the CMO here at Solomon Brothers. He and I have a really cool vision of, how we want to leave the independent jewelry space when we're done here, because it's been done the same way for so long. And it just takes the next generation to, push it forward and bring it up to its times. And, having a good experience in a jewelry store is going to change what that means and what that experience is. And so whatever it is, we're going to be ready for it. And I hope that we're able to leave that legacy. But just, Paul, and wrapping up something I wanted to ask you, and something that, just talked about my dad, right? Second generation, give the listeners a little look inside. What's it like working with dad? What's it like working with sister? Give us the family dynamic at Tacori at the office.
So when we hire new people, we tell them we're going to yell at each other, and you're going to think that we hate each other, but we don't. It has been the greatest experience of my life. I came in when I was 24 or 22, and my father was 24 years older than me. So we spent the last, almost 30 years at the office together, whenever I'm there together. And my sister is 15 feet away from me. Yeah. She's my exact opposite. She's the super pragmatic, thoughtful one. I'm the crazy, black sheep of the family. But that combination together is amazing. So being in a family business has its struggles and its challenges, sure. But our family is so strong, nothing can ever break us apart. Nothing is more important than what our family is. Yeah. And the thought of, our kids coming into it, because there's 5 of them, grandchildren, eventually into the business one day, it's like, that's really exciting.
Yeah. And are you doing anything, real quick as we wrap up? I know it's probably a longer question, but are you doing anything to plan for that? Or you have thoughts in your head on family planning?
The oldest one is 11, so it's a little tough to do it. It just means I'm going to be here for a long time.
That's fair.
But fortunately, I love it. And, again, everyone that works, we have people that have been with us, many people that have been with us for over 20 years.
Yeah.
Like, we celebrate anniversaries every month at our soapbox. So going to work is like being home. It's just my other home.
Yeah.
So it's super rad.
Well, that's awesome. Well, we will do this again, and we'll start family planning, for both of our kids. But you have been listening to The Legacy of Luxury. Paul, thank you so much for being on with us. It's been a lot of fun and an amazing partnership throughout the years, and I hope you've enjoyed the episode.
Love it. Cheers.